Hi, I'm going to talk about repetition statements, also known as looping statements in the C programming language. In programming, we often need to repeat certain actions. For example, printing a message multiple times, adding a series of numbers, or checking every item in a list. Instead of writing the same code again and again, we use loops. Loops help us execute a block of code multiple times automatically, saving both time and effort. What are looping statements? A looping statement allows a program to repeat a set of instructions as long as a specified condition is true. This process of repeating is called iteration. When the condition becomes false, the loop stops executing. In C, there are three main types of loops: for loop, while loop, do while loop. Each of them is used in slightly different situations. Let's discuss them one by one. For loop. The for loop is the most commonly used loop in C. It's especially useful when we know exactly how many times we want to repeat something. The syntax is shown along with an example. Here's what happens in the example. The variable I starts from 1. The loop checks the condition for I less than equal to 5. If true, it executes the statement inside the loop and then increases I by 1. This continues until the condition becomes false. This loop will print 1, space 2, space 3, space 4, space 5. So, the for loop is ideal when the number of iterations is known in advance. The while loop is used when we don't know beforehand how many times the loop needs to run. It keeps running as long as the condition remains true. The syntax is as shown along with an example. Here, the condition is checked before each iteration. If the condition becomes false at any point, the loop immediately stops. So, the while loop is often called an entry control loop, since the condition is checked before entering the loop body. Do-while loop. The do-while loop is quite similar to the while loop, but there's one key difference. In this loop, the condition is checked after executing the loop body. The syntax is as shown along with an example. In this case, the loop will run at least once, even if the condition is false in the beginning. That's why it's called an exit control loop, because the condition is checked at the end. Importance of looping statements. Looping statements are extremely useful in programming because they reduce code repetition, make programs shorter and easier to modify, automate repetitive tasks like calculations, reading data, or displaying patterns. For example, generating multiplication tables, summing numbers, or processing arrays all use loops. So, to summarize, looping statements in C are used to execute a block of code multiple times until a certain condition is met. The three main types are for loop, when we know how many times to repeat; while loop, when the repetition depends on a condition; and do while loop, when we want the loop to run at least once. Loops make programs more efficient, flexible, and powerful. Thank you.